Lee Anderson.
Thank you, Ms McVeigh. It's a pleasure to serve under your chairmanship. I just want to say that I thank my friend, the honourable member for Bolsover, for securing this debate. It's very important. And I thank also my colleague from Amber Valley, who spoke very passionately for the past 10 minutes or so. Now, I've lived near this junction for all my life. It's literally about 200 metres from the village of Huthwaite, where I spent most of my life living. But I would say to the Minister, who I've been very impressed with so far in his brief tenure, and I think he's the man to move this forward. I think he's the sort of man who's got the chequebook ready to actually sign this off. So there's no pressure there. But if we are serious as a government about levelling up in places like Ashfield and Bolsover and Amber Valley, then we've got to start with getting our infrastructure right. We've got to get our transport system right. And the honourable member from Bolsover is quite right when he says that, this was built, I think, in 1967. I think my dad worked on the M1 in the 60s. That's how old it is. And it was fit for purpose then, because there was hardly any traffic. And when you look at the M1, I think it's probably the second longest motorway in the country. And then you've got the A38, which is one of the longest roads in the country. And they meet at Junction 28. So the amount of traffic that comes there is quite incredible. And when you think we live within 20 minutes of Derby, of Sheffield and of Nottingham, Leicester probably 35 minutes away. This really is a gateway to the whole of East Midlands and South Yorkshire and Derbyshire, and the amount of traffic that comes through on that junction is absolutely phenomenal. And I travel there in the morning, 2 in the morning, and every time I get there, I think, my goodness, why did I come this way? Because the traffic goes straight back. But our area is quite successful at the moment with the levelling up we've secured. The Towns Fund, the Future High Streets Fund. It is a bit of a go-to place, Ashfield. Businesses are looking to set up. We've got all the old colliery sites. We've got businesses like Amazon. They've set up there 2,000 jobs. We've got the co-op in Bolsover on Junction 28. That's a massive transport depot. Logistics is massive in our area. We're like a warehouse for the country in places like Nottinghamshire and Derbyshire and South Yorkshire. So all these companies are setting up, but we've got substandard roads, we've got a substandard motorway junction, and we look at all the old colliery sites, the pit sites in Nottinghamshire and Derbyshire. Now, I guarantee that probably 90% of those old colliery sites are now industrial parks. And many, many years ago, when the pits were open, what did these pits have? They had a railway line. They're quite smart then. They had a railway line that would bring materials in, and then they had a railway line that would take the coal out to the power stations. But what did we do? Successive governments. We shut the pits, and then we ripped up the railway lines. And then, presto, 30, 40 years later, we started putting factories on these places, but there's no railway line. So we have to use the roads. It's absolute madness. I think we should all, hold our hands up a little bit and say that's wrong. We should have learned our lessons from them. But, like I say, we're living in 2023 now, and we've got these colliery sites that employ thousands of people across Nottinghamshire and Derbyshire, but the only way we can get materials in and out is through the roads. And a lot of that, the majority of that in my area, comes through Junction 28, and the road is not fit for purpose. And I will make another plea to the Minister, and this is like, I'm going to hijack this debate a little bit, because I strongly believe that when you've got villages like Huthwaite and Pinkston and Tibshelf and South Normington, and these little villages around Ashfield and Amber Valley and Bolsover, the amount of traffic that comes off and goes through these little villages is damaging our roads. It's playing havoc. And it's very, very noticeable the closer you get to the motorway on any junction, and I've travelled around the country, the roads get worse and worse and worse till you get next to a motorway, and the roads are shocking because there's thousands of lorries coming off every day, buses, whatever, bringing all these minerals and materials to all these industrial places. But when you move a little bit further out to the shires, then the roads get better and better and better. So I would suggest to the Minister, take that thought away when you're working out your funding formulas for road repairs. That, bear in mind that when we live at places like next to places like Junction 28, our roads are absolutely shocking, and the roads leading into the motorway. I can tell you now, the A38 that runs past the top of Huthwaite, past the top of Common Road, we've got craters in that road, and you've only got to sit there for a couple of hours and see how many lorries, etc., come by on that road every single day, and it's absolutely phenomenal. Yet the rest of the county, or the north of the county, or wherever, they're not getting that sort of traffic. So I would put that plea into the Minister, have a little think about that. He knows I'm going to talk about cycle lanes and hijack this a little bit more, because You know, I drive up to the motorway, junction 28, and I see cycle lanes being installed, when really we should be spending that on things like junction 28 and proper road repairs and resurfacing. So I hope the Minister would, that gives the Minister food for thought. But look, Ashfield, where I represent, we've had, you know, probably over £100 million worth of investment from this government, which I'm incredibly proud of. That's the Towns Fund, that's the Future High Streets Fund. We've got 2 new school rebuilds. We've had money spent on the hospital. So, we're doing really well under a Conservative government. We're getting lots and lots of money in. But, I sort of share that junction with the Honourable Member from Bolsover. And, I would say that as many residents or constituents in Ashfield use that actual junction as they do from Bolsover or Amber Valley, if not more. So, I pay special attention to that. Like I say, I've lived there all my life. I've seen the changes. I've seen the extra traffic. I've seen the extra investment coming into the area. People want to come to our area because, like my colleague says, we're close to 3 cities and there's an airport, there's good rail links close by. So if we want to attract more investment, Ms McVeigh, and we want to get more businesses coming in and spending more money, and we're serious about levelling up in places like Ashfield, Amber Valley and Bolsover, we need to sort of transport that, because transport is the most important thing. It's key to everything. Thank you.